Okay, and then we go. Live is preparing and we are live now. So hello everybody, we are live. So I'm very pleased today. We are going to have a conversation with Andrea Mason. If I put that in the French accent, it's going to be Andrea Mason. and and Andrea, let us know, where are you from?
Yeah, so I was born in Colombia and now I'm living in America. And it is just an honor and privilege to be here. Thank you so much for having me, my dear.
So it's my honor. So we decided to do this live together. So because we had a chat, let's say like it was like 2 weeks ago, I think, I'm not sure. Yeah,
correct.
2 weeks ago. And we have seen that we have so many things to share, and that even if you are in US and I am in Europe and you are a mom, I am a mom too. We have different paths, but we have so many things in common. So that's why we wanted to do this live together. And so for me, it was really important, and I discussed that with some friends this morning. We do a mastermind together, and it's like to have this connection between people, because I think it's so important. When we have the connection, we feel better, we have more, we can find more solutions. So it's like everything can be, everything's possible when we have the connection. When we have the separation, it's more difficult because we feel alone. So we feel that it's not, everything is not, yeah, it's more complicated. So that's why I'm very pleased to have this connection with you today. And so just for you looking at us, we don't have any plan right now. We have no clue about what we are going to talk about.
Right.
But I prepared some theme here.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I would say, so one is here. So I would say I pick up one.
Okay.
And then let's start to do something.
See where it takes us.
The magic happen. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So I don't know if you can, yeah, exactly. So
okay.
I don't know if it's asset. So having said that, Andrea, what do you think about what is an asset for being a good parent?
Number one asset is taking care of yourself, making sure your mental health, physical health is all in alignment. Because, you know, as parents, if we have multiple children, they always want our attention when we least expect it. And we have to make sure we're well rested, hydrated, nutritionally well balanced, and also patient. Our number one asset is our health, because without our health, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, we are not here for that. And it is important that we make sure that we are attentive, we are intentional, and that we listen effectively to our children. A lot of our children, you know, the younger children, always want something, but they don't know how to get the words out. And that's where patience comes into play, because they're like, mommy, I have this idea. I want to do this. And they're all over the place. And we have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and say, okay, what is it that you want? Because when you do that, remember, our children, we are their first teachers, their first leaders, their first mentors, their first role models. So once we are balanced and happy and well rested and well fed, then we can have 100% attention to our children.
Yeah, I agree with you. And indeed, so healthy, so to be healthy, but it's not only having the right food for our body, right? So it is having the right food for the global energy. And so we have different kind of energy. We have the physical energy, and that's why we have to eat the right thing for our body. But we have the emotional one, we have the mental one, and it's the one that I think we really need to have when we want to be passionate, because when we are overload, so when we have this mental load very present, so it's just you cannot find any space in your mind, and when you have no space in your mind, it's really difficult let go and be patient and have fun. And so that it's not going to work really properly. So the first thing is that having space in our mind, so the mental energy well balanced and the emotional energy well balanced as well, because if we are like all over the place with our emotions, even if we have space somehow in our mind, then we cannot control our emotions. And our children are just great to, you know, to push the right button,
push those buttons.
Like,
yes, absolutely. And they also feed off of our energy. How many times have we're trying in the middle of something and your child comes up to you and they're either upset or they're crying, and then you don't even know what happened. We have to learn to be proactive rather than reactive, because that is a huge component for children. They feed off our energy. I remember many times, when I was doing something and our son needed us, I just reacted and I wasn't thinking, and that's not fair to the child, because you're in your own moment and you're trying to take care, as women, we multitask all the time. And then at times it's not a benefit, but we just be mindful. Remember to be proactive and respond as opposed to reaction, because they're going to feed off of that. And believe you me, how many times have our children said, well, I've seen you do it. And they're right. So we have to be careful of our actions. Absolutely. Just take a deep breath.
So right now I have my 3 boys at home because we have quarantine. So the 3 boys are at home, my husband too, and me as well. So it's a little bit crazy right now at home. And it's exactly that. So it's not always easy to be proactive. So you can feel that. So maybe the first 2 days, like, okay, everything is fine. You are more proactive, but slowly but surely, with the pressure in every direction. So it's more difficult to be proactive, and the children, they are more reactive as well.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
My question there is, because I'm sure that a lot of parents are thinking about it right now, they're like, okay, but what happens if I just cannot be proactive, and even if I try hard, I am reactive? What would you say?
If parents feel that it's difficult to be proactive and are just muddled in their own lives, then we have to understand that we are setting the foundation for these individuals to be our future generations. If we can't be proactive in the moment, at least take a moment to say, okay, sweetie, can you give me a few minutes? That way you're acknowledging the individual. You're making them aware that they are important. Remember, these are young minds, regardless, even up to 18, 20-year-olds or even young adults. They're still your children. They are a priority. Let them be understood and heard. Make sure you understand that their need of some sort. But right now, can you give me a few moments so I can give you my undivided attention? Because you're seeking awareness, you're letting know that their significance, you're not dismissing them, and you're giving them a timeline to say, hey, right now I'm in the middle of something, which doesn't mean that your situation is not important, but let me finish it and then we can sit down and discuss it. And I mean, obviously you weigh the options. If you have a child that's, having crying or angry, quite honest, that is your priority at that moment, no questions asked. Because suppressed emotions, especially when dealing with children, suppressed emotions, and you put it on the side, as I do, it's a boiling pot. It's going to fester and fester and then explode when you least expect it. So acknowledge them, make aware that that they need you at this moment. I would even go to the point to say, can this wait a few minutes? Let me just finish and close this up, and I'd be more than happy to sit down with you. That's a mature, proactive response. Not if you won't have the time at that moment, but it's acknowledging that their needs are of importance.
I agree with you, and what I would say as well is that so that means one asset is clear communication as well. So that is important. And in order to have clear communication, we have to know how we feel and the kind of trigger we have right now. And what I would say as well is that being a role model doesn't mean that we have to be perfect. So it has nothing to do with being perfect. And I would say even that being perfect is not good, because a parent being perfect give a lot of pressure back to their children, because children want them to be perfect. So, and it's just not possible to be perfect anyway. So the question is not to be perfect, but the question is to go in the process of indeed trying to have a clearer communication, trying to be more proactive, trying to let them understand that indeed you have time for them, but sometimes you have to do something else and they have to wait, and that's fine. And if it doesn't work at that moment, and it's what I say to a lot of my clients, is that, okay, if you were reactive and it didn't work the way you wanted it to be, it's all good, but you can work the situation afterwards. Like during the evening, you can discuss that with yourself, with your children. Okay, how could have we handled the situation differently? So for next time, so how, what did you like? What did you don't like? How could I communicate differently, or you, or whatever it is. So, but just discuss the conflict. And it's fine to have no solution. And what I always say to my client as well is like, it's fine to ask your children to find solutions as well. And even small ones, like 4 or 5 years old. Sometimes it's so cute, the kind of solution they come up with, like, oh my God, that's great. And sometimes it's just cute solution, but it's just nice to hear them. And sometimes it's cute solution, but it's really interesting solutions as well. And from that, you can continue to find the right solution. And then they are part of the solution and they are not part of the problem anymore.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we did that with our son. So we had this method. I read this article where this mom said, okay, if your child has something to say, you're out in public, grocery store, or what have you, have them put their hand on your shoulder, acknowledge them, and then be able to put your hand on top and then address it. And what you made a great point, Christelle, is that you're molding them and preparing them for down the road with effective communication and effective listening skills, allowing each other to have a give and take rather than monopolizing a communication, monopolizing the conversation. Well, this is the way, and this is only the way. And that's what's going to broaden their perspectives. And it's always also going to test their patience, because the more you evolve and work on a child's patience at any age, and even for the parents out there, the more you practice patience, the more you'll have perseverance and success, because you're taking your time to breathe, process, and then go forward. And what I think is also amazing is what you tapped into. There has been some situations of problem solving that I didn't even think of that was brought to my attention by children, because they don't have that compartmentalized vision. It has to be this way or that way. They have the sky's the limit. Their minds are racing and going so fast that they say, well, what about this way? And it widens the scope of knowledge, of perspective, and opportunity that is there. So those are great points that I'm glad you brought up. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a few people looking at us right now. Hello, Elisa.
Good.
Hello,
Excellent.
Nelson. Hello, Stefan. Hello, Saddam, if I can read right. So hello, everybody. So what we have said is that in order to be a good parent, so the assets are patience, health, so health, but the mental health, the emotional health, the physical health. So to be patient, to have the right communication, or to try to have a clear communication, not trying to be perfect, but just trying to be real. Letting your children being part of the solution and not only part of the problem. So we have 5
Right.
already.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
You see another one. Are you people looking at us right now? Do you have some other idea about what is a good asset for being a good parent or being a good leader for our children? For me, I would add one. I would add, so, and it's really something that I believe, that when as a parents we try to live our life fulfilling, so not not on a small level, but really try our best in our career or in what we do. I don't say that we necessarily have to do a career, but we have to contribute to something. Let's put that this way. And I think that when we allow ourselves to go in this direction and to be us and to take the space and to believe in something, then we give this to our children. We give our children we allow them to do the same for themselves. And I found that's really important.
Yes, and one of the attributes that I've heard when I speak to parents all the time that I've seen and I've experienced is that some of the parents live their dreams through their children.
Yes.
So if they didn't make the team, if they didn't make the grade, if they didn't do this, they kind of steer their child to go in that route. And one of the key components I say as you know, a coach, as a mother, as a daughter, and as when I was growing up, allow your children to have that communication, as Christelle had said, and sit down and talk to them, because you are tapping into their passions, their personal concerns, and their personal development. And when you sit down and explore, and you know, you may have it like, for example, our son wants to be a chef. And we were like, okay, that's awesome. And so we guided that by allowing him doing an apprenticeship in the summer, allowing him to do classes in that, allowing him to learn math through chef school, kind of like a Montessori kind of schooling, teaching way. But that gets them involved, and that allows them to rule out what they don't want and to find out what they do want and tap into those gifts and skills, because they are investing themselves not only financially down the road, but time, effort, passion, perseverance, and progress. So meet them where they're at. And if you, unless it's something that you refrain from for like gambling or something of egregious of that nature, obviously you intervene. But explore and get to the root cause of why they want to do what they want to do.
Exactly.
Because as you and I know, when you, as both of our histories, we followed our heart and not the herd. We followed our why. We dabbled into a few things that our external influences said, hey, let's try this. And then when we came to the point where we've exhausted that skill set, that was just another notch in our belt of the skill, gift, and talent that we had. And then we took that and paralleled it over to something we're passionate about.
Yes, definitely.
For parents out there, mentors, guardians, coaches, teachers, start early. Because if you find, as Matthew McConaughey says, it's kind of like the process of elimination. When you find out what you don't want, that's when you realize who you want to be.
I love that. And as a parent, if you find the way to discover yourself, then it's going to be easier to teach your children to find the way to discover themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you very much. So
anybody out there has any questions?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't see any questions.
Type something in the chat or comment. If you want to tap on, add something, have a question for either Christelle or myself, join us. That's what we're about. We're here for you guys.
And the video is going to stay online for a while. So if you have questions after the live, just ask your questions and we are going to come back to you. Or what we can do as well is that to do another live and to answer your question directly on the live. And eventually, if you want to, you can even join us on the Zoom, and then we can all discuss together. So if you want to be our guest, just let us know, and then we can invite you on the Zoom and discuss your topic together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, Andrea, I thank you very much for being here today.
Pleasure is all mine.
It
Absolutely.
was great speaking with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I would say bye-bye to everyone.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
we stay in touch anyway. And let's talk next time to another topic. I have a lot here. So
absolutely. And write in the comments if you have questions for us. Let's keep this going. Awareness is all about the key. And
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can find our information below, and we look forward to the next one.
Exactly. Okay.
Thank you
nice
so much.
Day or evening or wherever you are listening to us, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Be well. Take care.